Got Talent. Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom. And of course we have Felicity Merriman here. So in this review, we're going to be looking at this book. So this is Welcome to Felicity's World, 1774, Growing Up in Colonial America. So this is a nonfiction book, and much longer than some of the other ones. So this talks about life in Williamsburg in 1774. So you have Welcome to Felicity's World. They talk about growing up at home and at work. Every man and woman, his own doctor, disturbing the king's peace, and a peek into the future. So it's talking about the New World a little bit, where the slave, does it talk about? Yes, it talks about the slave trade. So it tries to make up for the books not mentioning it, and what's going on. So the coming storm, it talks a little bit about the American Revolution here. It talks about babies, and half of all colonial children died before the age of 6. So talks a little bit about playtime, which you see more in her craft book. It talks about the different games they played. It talks about things that they would be learning, how they would be writing things down and sewing and all sorts of things like that. It talks about the fashion of the time. So you're seeing the stomachers, which is what you see here on Felicity. The hoops. Yes, the hoops. No, she's not wearing them. Yes, we have a pair. She's not wearing them. She would wear them with this dress. It talks about this would be the a pair of stays. So as you can see, there's no metal grommets here. This is not tightened. It's just a support piece. It talks about the shoes. It's making fun of the giant hair and different things. So it also talks about learning how to dance and different music here, and courtship, which again, courtship's not brought up in Felicity's book. It is brought up mostly in Elizabeth's book. So particularly since Felicity's 9-10 years old. It does talk about George. This is a picture of George and Martha, as in not King George, but George Washington and his wedding. He was marrying a widow. Talks about just kind of day-to-day life, where it kind of has different things. These books are really great for teaching kind of the personalized history. So it even has managing the household. So it talks about different things in the house. I love these pictures. And then it talks about life in the plantations. So again, it does make up a little bit. It doesn't, again, go deeply into slavery, but that's not really the point of these books. It does talk about slavery. So again, it's trying to make up for these stories. So it's talking about slavery in this informational text, and breaking different parts of slavery and what was going on. It does talk about colonial law a bit, and certain women being in charge. I'm guessing this picture is from some of these pictures are going to be from Colonial Williamsburg, which is a living museum. It talks about the daily toilet, which in this case, it means just a woman's morning and evening routine. So, and then it talks about a healthy humor. So I'm not going to go into this too much, but at the time, the prevailing medical idea had to do with the 4 humors, which were yellow bile, black bile, blood, and what on earth was it? It was phlegm. And then you could run too hot or too cold, and they would bleed you. And yeah, that's how George Washington died. I think he had he had some sort of infection, and they bled him to death, essentially, trying to save him. Talks about death. A lot of people died early on. And then it talks about the rebellion. So it talks a little bit more about the Revolutionary War. And it talks about Sybil's rise. So she's, this is one of the, I don't know whether they found this true or not, or if it's just a legend about her, one of the a daughter who was running to alert people, similar to Paul Revere. So, and it talks about the women at war and the war at home and what they were doing. Okay, and it also talks about for some reason it's talking about the December of 1776 where Washington crossed the Delaware, the turning point in the war and the ending of the war, and then a world turned upside down because everything changed, and then a peek into the future. So that is, again, I really do enjoy these books. They provide there's a lot of pictures, there's a lot of history here. It cuts things into little snippets. I wish they, again, similar to the crafted cookbooks, I wish they had these for all the dolls. But I love this as a history resource, particularly for children. Again, the books themselves are targeted toward late elementary, I think. Can't remember how old I was what grade I was in when I was 9. I think it was like 3rd or 4th. So 3rd or 4th grade and up. So I love this. I love the history in these books, and it makes it personalized because you're talking about a character. So you have a character that's connected to them. And again, that was the point of the original of Pleasant Rawling, because she wrote curriculums and she was a teacher. So she was trying to fill a gap with these history resources. So put that down here. So that is really it for this review. That book, similar to a lot that I am covering that is based on Felicity's, you can find them used. You can find them at your library. Some stuff you can find digitized, like the mysteries are still available, but again, I'll get to those. But again, you can find these used. They're a great historical resource, as are the books. And I love learning about the American Revolution, which I don't remember that much. Again, I'm in my 40s. Elementary school was a long time ago. But nonetheless, if you like what you see, be sure to like and subscribe. You can check out all my videos. I've been doing this channel since 2022. But this year, you can look forward to, I finished Kea for January, so she was our Native American. Felicity here is with the American Revolution. We'll be moving on to Caroline, who is the War of 1812. And then we're moving on to Josephina, who's in New Mexico in the 1820s. So, like and subscribe. This is what happens when you have a small child and she's awake. I am sorry, there is a cut at the very end of this book. My 6-year-old interrupted yet again. It's like 5 seconds, which is the reason in order to do her Felicity's entire book series, I think I had to film it like 4 times to get it in one shot. But nonetheless, again, if you want to like and subscribe, please do. I will see you next time, hopefully with less interruptions from the child. Just to be aware, it's January 2nd, so she's still on school break. So, again, like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you.